Hello friends, welcome to our channel. So let's start today's audiobook summary. This book summary is about a book. The name of the book is I Will Teach You to Be Rich. This book has been written by Ramit Sethi. So let's start it. Are you terrible at managing money? Do you think that you would be better if you had more money? Do you just accept that you will always be terrible at handling finances? Then you will never become rich. Being rich is knowing when to spend and when to save. This book will help you in accomplishing this. Being rich has never been this easy. So let's talk about the author. This book has been written by Ramit Sethi. Ramit Sethi is a financial advisor and an entrepreneur. His book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, is a New York Times bestseller. He is the founder of growthlab.com, a marketing website, and the co-founder of PB Works. Ramit Sethi has released over 50 online courses about business and finance, which can be helpful for anybody who is looking for to be rich. So let's start today's book summary. Introduction. Saving money is like eating sweets. At first, you cannot get enough of it. However, you will eventually grow sick of it. Being wise about money always sounds like a good idea. But soon enough, you lose motivation. And you cannot be bothered to keep track of every purchase. In this book, you will learn that budgeting is not necessary to be rich. Author Ramit Sethi thinks that budgeting is a waste of time. What people need to do is to be conscious of their spending habits. In this book, you will learn about optimizing your credit cards. You will learn the power of simply allocating your money wisely. You will also learn that being rich comes from small changes. So let's start how we can optimize your credit card. Often, people are scared about the terms credit cards. A lot of negativity surrounds the term. It is because the negative reviews come from people who manage it poorly. Credit is something you need to understand and master to become rich. Credit cards are used by people to pay for their big purchases. People with good credit save lots of dollars for these purchases. Yes, having good credit can help you save money. But first, what is credit? Credit has two factors. They are credit report and credit score. Your credit report reveals basic information about your accounts and your payment history. It helps lenders know if you have been paying other lenders. It also includes your payment behavior and if you have made any late payments. Your credit score is a number that represents your credit risks to lenders. Your number could be between 300 and 850. The lender considers this number as well as your credit report to base how much money they can lend you. The higher the credit score, the better it is for you to get money. To have a higher credit score, you must be quick with payments. Why it is important to know these things? It is because having good credit helps you with interest charges. You can save thousands of dollars if you have a good credit score. Suppose you are planning to buy a house. Loans from banks have high interest charges. But this interest can be paid off by good credit. There are bad reviews about surrounds credit cards. There are expensive fees if you pay late. Sometimes there are unauthorized charges on your account as well. This will only happen to you if you don't manage your credit cards properly. People treat credit cards as an endless source of money. Well, it can be viewed that way. But this endless source also has consequences attached to it. If you miss a payment, your credit score can drop. The company where you got your credit card can also increase your annual percentage rate or APR. On top of that, there will be a late fee. All of this can be avoided if you just pay right on time. This is one way of optimizing your credit cards. Another way to optimize it to call your credit card company. Ask them if they can waive fees or service charges for you. One payment is the annual fee. This is the fee that you have to pay for using your card. You can still negotiate with a credit card company to waive it. There are lots of credit card companies that don't have this fee anymore. It is a way for them to get more customers. So if you are still paying for an annual fee, ask the company to waive it. If they don't, then switch it to annual fee free card. It does not hurt to try. Often it worked for another Ramit. What is another way to optimize? Try to negotiate a lower APR. Your APR or annual percentage rate is the interest the company gives you for using your card. Usually APRs are at 14%. Yes, it sounds big. But then again, the company is lending you huge amounts of money. So it is a win-win situation for you. So call the company and ask the lower APR. If they ask why they should do that, give valid reasons for your support. For instance, you have been paying your bill right on time for the past months. You are also aware of other companies that offer lower APRs, and that you can easily switch credit card companies, but there is also an advantage to staying loyal to one's credit cards company. Long credit history is appreciated by lenders. Again, they want to see that you are a reliable person when it comes to payments. Optimize your card by refusing to be tempted by lower fee and APRs. How you can beat the banks? Just like credit cards, banks can be just intimidating. Banks often take advantage of young adults. Youngsters think that talk of interest rates and fees is scary. So young adults just pay whatever needs to be paid. But the hassle of knowing these concepts can be eliminated. How and why? It's by using online banking. Online banking is a very good way for banks to increase their customers' interest rates. People will choose convenience every time instead of going to a physical bank by themselves. The savings you put in an online bank can dramatically increase. It can also eliminate fees you normally would get from your neighborhood bank. Let's compare interest rates of online versus physical banks. So if you put $1,000, the two banks will have varying interest rates. Online banks often offer a 3% interest rate to start. In 1 year, you can earn $30 with that interest rate. For physical banks, they usually have only 0.4% interest rate. That means you can get just $5 for your $1,000 every year. See how much is the difference it makes for online banking versus offline banking utility. So how does Ramit set up his online bank account? He has both checking and savings online account. Checking account is where you deposit and withdraw money. You do this through debit cards and checks. Ramit's income goes to his checking accounts. Then he proceeds to transfer the money through his other accounts online. Banks offer interest rates when you deposit into your checking accounts. Savings accounts, like its name, is where you save your money for things like special occasions or holidays. Back then, the difference between checking and saving accounts was the interest. Saving accounts formerly only had interest rates. Checking accounts had none. But as mentioned, many banks offer interest rates for both accounts these days. So, what really is the difference between two accounts? Ideally, you should withdraw from your checking accounts. Your saving accounts should never be touched unless you are using it for a critical goal. How should you set up your account? Ramit offers several options. The first one is the most basic option. Set up a checking account as well as a saving account at your local bank. Talk to the bank about fees. If there are fees such as annual ones, look for banks that don't have these kind of fees. The second one is the combination of the basic options and small optimization. Open a no-fee checking account at your local bank. Then find an online bank that has a high interest rate for several savings accounts. This way you will have easy access to your money via checking account. And you can easily make your money grow. How? By transferring it into your saving accounts. And the third one is a combination of an advanced setup and full optimization. This involves opening several checkings and saving accounts at different banks. This is to determine which bank has the best interests and services. The third one is what Ramit has. He has a checking account with his local bank. Then he has another checking account, but this time at an online bank. The same thing can be said with his several savings accounts. Choosing what option to go with depends on you. Do you want a no hassle account? Then go with the first one. But Ramit says you should not limit yourself. Why not experiment with the second or third option? It is a sure way for you to make your money grow. When choosing a bank, consider three things. The number one is trust, number two, convenience, and features. Trust comes in form of no hidden charges and fees. Big banks have always relied on having endless customers. Thus, they take advantage by sneaking in fees into your account. The best way to know what bank to trust is to ask your friends. Another way is to look at bank's website. If they are transparent with their fees, then they are trustworthy. Convenience comes in the form of easy access. It should be easy for you to manage your money. The bank also needs to have good customer service. If you have a problem, they should immediately assist you. Features come in the form of value-added services for every bank. For instance, the bank offers high interest rates. Transferring money to the other banks could also be free. So, how you can go about the conscious spending? Let's learn it. Getting your money's worth is spending money wisely. How many times have you felt horrible because you overspent on something? Ramit had that feeling before. Keeping track of what you spent is not the solution. In fact, it does not work at all. Budgeting is only good in theory. No one actually bothers to track every penny. It's boring and it's tiresome. So Ramit suggests an alternative. You create a conscious spending plan. This plan is a way for you to have money to spend, invest, and save every month. Gone will be the days where you wonder where your money went. A conscious spending plan centers on being thrift. You might be wrinkling your nose at the word. So you have to be cheap. No. Being thrift and being cheap are completely different terms. Putting them into one definition is the reason why people overspend. Being thrift is choosing to spend only on the things you love. Being thrift is not about cutting off all the expenses as per your requirement. It's determining what is important for you. The reason why people find it hard to be thrift is because they cannot be bothered to determine what is important to them. Take Lisa for example. She spends about $5,000 a year on shoes only. That is about 15 pairs if each one costs $300. You might say that is not being thrift, but it absolutely is. Lisa has a six-figure salary. She lives in a tiny apartment with a roommate. She does not spend on appliances or gadgets. On top of that, Lisa has investments. At the start of every month, she sets aside money for savings and investments. Shoes are important to Lisa. That is why she spends money on it. So she compromises with other expenses in her life. A conscious spending plan has four factors: fixed costs, investments, savings, and guilt-free spending money. How you can set monthly fixed costs? These are things that you have to pay for. For example, rent, utilities, and student loans. You should give 50% to 60% of your income for this factor. How do you figure out this? First, let's list down your fixed costs. It could be the one stated above. You could also add public transportation, groceries, and clothes. If you have no idea how much you spend on a particular thing, dig deep. Look at your receipts and credit card statements for the past 3 months. Then jot down accordingly. Once you are done, add 15% to just in case category. These are for things you cannot anticipate every month. For instance, car repairs or sudden dry cleaning for a big interview. For Ramit, he set aside $150 every month for unexpected expenses. Long-term investments. For this factor, you are setting aside money for your 401k or individual retirement account. These are the accounts that hold your retirement or pension funds. The amount you should put here should be 10% of your salary minimum. Are you unsure of 10% of your salary allocation? There are plenty of investments calculators online available which you can go through. The calculators can predict exactly the returns based on how much you are going to contribute to your pension funds every month or annual basis. It will help you decide saving goals. This factor could be any type of goal, no matter the time it takes to accomplish. It could be as short as saving for Christmas gifts or Diwali gifts. It could be mid-term, such as a wedding in 2 years. It could be a long term as well, such as paying for a house or for a marriage. The key to savings is to start saving early. The longer you save, the less you will have to save each month. It sounds fairly straightforward, right? But people seldom take this advice. So add some numbers to it to make it more realistic. For instance, you are planning to get married in your 20s. You have a rough estimate already on how much it is going to cost. So, you start saving when you are still 20 years old. You have $333 per month. This expense of time makes it less hard to set aside money. Compared to when you start saving when you are 26, by then you need to save $2,333 per month for the saving goals. Set aside a 5 to 10% of your income to accomplish your goal. Now the fourth one is guilt-free spending money. Indulging in your wants should not make you feel guilty. That is why Ramit encourages guilt-free spending to be included in your budget. But how do you calculate for this factor? Let's use Brian as an example. After taxes, Brian brings up most $48,000 a year. That is almost $4,000 every month. He uses the conscious spending plan to allocate his income accordingly. For monthly fixed costs, Brian allocates 60% of his salary. That amounts to $2,400 per month. For long-term investments, 10%, that is roughly $400 every month. For savings, also 10%, that amounts to again $400 per month. Finally, for guilt-free spending, Brian uses 20% of his income. That leaves him with $800 to spend every month. The problem is this: Brian thinks that $800 a month for guilt-free spending is not enough. What would you advise him? Bad advice would be to encourage Brian to lessen his allocation for his investments and savings and spend more. Yes, it sounds like a good solution, but Brian will pay for it in the near future. Good advice is to ask Brian to optimize his monthly fixed costs and guilt-free spending money. Brian has a credit card. He has been paying his bills right on time for months. He has a good point of asking the credit card company to lower his APR. Next, Brian should check to his subscriptions. He realizes that he has a Netflix account and a membership to a Star Wars website and has an Amazon Prime account as well. He uses only Netflix twice and thrice in a month. For the Star Wars website, he only visited it once in a month. So the brand then decides to cancel his memberships on all of his requirements. He saves almost $100 by doing this. Then Brian looks over his receipts. He failed to realize how much he has been eating out that month. Despite having food at home, Brian overspends on fast food which he takes outside. He also goes to bars often. Brian is shocked when the receipts he kept total to $600 every month. He promises himself not to spend as much as on takeout and bars. Brian was conscious on his spending. He was able to save $266 more in the following few months. He added this to his budget for the guilt-free spending and added the same to his long-term future investment plans. Be like Brian. He was guilty of spending too much on things that he thought were not important. He felt guilty for spending too much on eating and drinking. Thus, he cut back on it. He allocated the money to things that mattered to him. For instance, buying books or clothes. So how can you save while sleeping? Some people are experts at managing money. They barely get a headache from it. Some of us are very unlucky. It can be stressful and frustrating to handle money every time. But Ramit Sethi has developed a system to make it very easy for you. Are you familiar with the term doing more before doing less? That is exactly what Ramit's system is all about. You have to put in a few hours trying to figure it out. But having an automatic system will make the following months easier. Having an automatic system is making everything happen by default. If you already made your conscious spending plan, congratulations! You are halfway to make an automatic system. Take Michelle, for instance. She gets her salary once a month. The company she works at automatically deducts 5% from her income to put her long-term investments. In other words, 5% goes to her investments accounts. The rest of the money goes to her checking account. A few months back, Michelle arranged her online bank statements. Now her payments are automatic. Her account automatically puts 5% of her salary into a retirement plan. Then 5% will go to her savings accounts. This 5% is further broken down into two things. First one is for her wedding, and 1% is for her wedding, and 4% for down payments for a house. Michelle also uses a credit card for automatic payments for subscriptions and bills, and gets a lot of credit and redeems her points. This includes electricity, utilities, Netflix, etc. Credit card statements are sent almost immediately after you pay for something. It takes Michelle 5 minutes to see if she has been overspending on her fixed costs or not. Most of the time she does not do that. It is because she has grown accustomed to her conscious spending plan. The remaining money is used for spending. What is important for Michelle is to eat out and buy clothes. Thus, she cuts back on spending too much on expensive shoes or choosing to walk instead of taking a cab. To make automatic money flow, link all of your accounts together. Make a chart for every checking, savings, credit card, and investments that you have. This will help you keep track of every single one. Link your checking accounts to your credit cards accounts. Set up an automatic transfer when it is time to pay the bills. Also, link your checking accounts to your saving accounts. Obviously, 5% of your income will go to whatever it is you are saving for. So now coming on to the conclusion, first, by this book summary, you learned how to optimize your credit card. A good credit card score makes it easy for lenders to trust you to borrow money. You can optimize your credit card through two ways. One, ask the company to waive certain fees, such as the annual fees for the credit card. These small fees will cost you a lot of along the way. Number two, negotiate for a lower annual percentage rate, that is APR. And second, you also learned about the appeal of online banks. Online banks, to gain more customers, offer higher interest rates, especially when it comes to saving accounts. For checking accounts, you can open one in your physical bank. Aim for banks that have high interest rates. And third, you learned that conscious spending plan is very beneficial for you. This plan has 4 factors: monthly fixed costs, investments, savings, and guilt-free spending money. Fixed costs take up 60% of your salary. For investments, 10%. For savings should take 5 to 10% of your income. And guilt-free spending money is remaining money you have. Finding out what is important to you makes spending money guilt-free. So consider what really matters to you. Fourth, you also learned about the beauty of automatic money transfers. It sounds easy, but many people seldom do it. Arrange the setting of every month money related account you have. Link your checking account to your savings accounts. Also link your checking accounts to your credit cards. In this way, you don't have to worry about following your conscious spending plans. If you set it up right now, your accounts will divide you monthly money accordingly and will leverage you many helpful benefits in terms of saving money. Money can be such a headache to handle, but it does not have to be, especially if you followed these kind of principles which have been explained earlier in this book. And gone are the days that you feel like money is just slipping through your fingers. Not only will you be saving more money, you are also getting rich. So thank you. I hope you would have liked this summary.